Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes, it is morning, and yes, today we're doing a face shave on this morning because it is a very special morning. Thank you for joining me. I'm Chad from CD Shaving, and we're here today to do just a regular face shave. We got a product here that it's kind of a special product to me, and because it's a special day. So, today is Mother's Day. So, any of you mothers that happen to be watching this, happy Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to a very special mother that I know is Mary Murphy, who passed away a few years ago, but my mother was a very special mother. And today we are dedicating this shave to her, to all the mothers actually. Today we're going to be using Catie's Bubbles Connecticut Shade. Catie's Bubbles out of Forked River, New Jersey. Guys, if you don't have a Catie's Bubbles, pick one up. It doesn't even matter what scent. I don't think I've ever heard anything negative about this formula. Chris Cullen does a fantastic job on this stuff. So, Connecticut Shade, this particular stuff here has sweet tobaccos, vanilla, oak, and nutmeg in it. I'm not going to go over all the ingredients. They are available on the side of the label here and on the website at catiesbubbles.com. This particular soap is available for 14 or 15. I think it's $14 on the website for a 4-ounce container. These containers are great because they got a huge lip in the top. I've only used this like a couple times, and it's got a huge lip in the top where it's plenty of bloom room. So, having said that, I don't usually bloom Catie's Bubbles because I don't need to. This stuff is just, I mean, it feels like it's a medium soap, but it really, you don't need to do that. I don't know. I don't anyway. And this stuff is very, very aromatic. So, the scent on this, the nutmeg really, really comes out. And for me, it reminds me of baking, like brownies, cookies, excuse me, that sort of thing, because of the nutmeg. That is what I think of when I smell this. And it reminds me of when I was a kid, because my mother was a huge baker. I mean, Betty Crocker got nothing on what she would do. So today, for the shave, we're going to be using Mule R41. And a couple of extra days growth on here on my face. So we're going to be doing, we're going with a feather blade in this second use. So pretty aggressive shave, but I want to have a nice smooth shave. So we're not wet the face here. And for the brush, we're using AMAC Game Changer knot put into Whip Dog handle, synthetic. So if you guys, if your mothers are still with us, I hope you guys get to spend some time with them today. Now, my mother, growing up, I'm just going to load the brush here. Growing up, there was 3 of us, 3 boys in this one house. 3 boys, my dad, my mom, and then usually a dog of some sort. And a cat. And then what I call the disposable pet. We usually had a fish or a hamster or something that the kids were completely in charge of taking care of, and that would last like maybe a month or 2. Then we'd have to get rid of it because it would either die or, something unfortunate like that. Anyway, so my mother loved the holidays, right? And I remember at the time I was working on the road, and my lieutenant was out stopping cars. And this was at night. Him and I were working together. And we met up later on for coffee. And he said, hey, I stopped a car in front of your mother's house. I said, really? Anyway, so I said, yeah, well, that's cool. Are you speeding? He says, yeah, it was really no big deal, though. And I said, okay. He says, I let him off with a warning. I said, oh, cool. And he says, yeah, but I'll tell you, when I went out on that stop, he says, I could see everything inside that vehicle. In fact, I could see right into the pupils of that guy's eyes, the guy that was driving. I said, why? He goes, I could have shut off my headlights and my spotlight. They didn't even need my spotlight. I said, why? And he said, because of your mother's Christmas lights. He said there was so many Christmas lights. He's like, it was like the middle of the day. He's like, I didn't have to turn on my interior light. I could write just sitting in there from the light from that front yard, which I thought was pretty funny. My mother loved Christmas, and the more lights she could put on that front yard, as far as she was concerned, the better. My poor father had to usually spend hours putting up or taking the lights down from the attic of the house and then putting them up in the yard, and then eventually taking them down out of the yard. My parents did not leave their Christmas lights up all year round. But I'll tell you, my mother spent a lot of money at the Christmas tree shop. So, all right, you guys, if you guys have any favorite memories of your mom or just growing up like that, I'd love to hear them. Sometimes as you guys, some of you probably know, I tend to tell stories on here. And that's one of the stories about my mom. Everybody's parents usually have their own quirks, and my mother also had a phrase. Now, my mom was born and raised in the area of Boston, Mass. So she had a bit of a Mass accent. And my mother would also think nothing of swearing around you. It was, God forbid, if you said it, oh boy, you'd be in trouble. I actually got soap in my mouth once. But she thought nothing of, swearing around you. Especially if she was pissed. And my mom had this phrase that she would use. You knew she was mad, or like something was, something really horrible had just happened, or at least horrible according to her. And it was like a compilation of different swears. And she would, if she found something that you broke, there was usually a gasp first. You like this, and you could be anywhere in that house, and you knew, oh, she found the shards of glass in the trash, or oh man, she found the hinge that I broke on the cabinet door that I just kind of put back into place and hoped nobody would ever see again. And it would usually be followed by this phrase. And it was, Jesus Christ Almighty, son of a bitch bastard. That's what my mother would say. Jesus Christ Almighty, son of a bitch bastard. And you knew at that point, you better find your way outside, because you're in deep shit. And she had a sense. It was almost like when one of us broke something. It's almost like each one of us had calling cards. She knew by looking at it. She just knew which one of you did it. And it was usually me. And she would call me from the other room, and I'd come running in, and she'd yell in my name. And she's like, "Get in here!" And I'd come in, and she would even ask if I did it. She'd be like, "How did you do this?" And I'd look at her, "How do you know it's me?" "Because I know it was you," she would say. Yeah. She just had this, she knew her boys. And, she always had these little things she would say that would, oh, man, this stuff smells pretty good. I'm not really a food scent guy when it comes to shaving soaps, but this stuff really, really reminds me of baking and reminds me of growing up as a kid. So but anyway, so as kids, we put that poor woman through the ringer. Not that we were bad kids by any means, but we made she definitely earned her title as mother. She used to take her cookies that she would make, and she made no word. I mean, she made a lot of cookies growing up. She would sell them eventually and stuff like that. But when I was really little, she would make them, put them in the freezer, and you'd wait until she was gone. She always made the mistake of leaving us home alone. And especially during cookie season, that was like the first place you'd go, was downstairs to the freezer and take out the bag or one of the bags or containers, and you would eat 4 or 5 of whatever it was you wanted. And the problem is, all 3 of us, I'm pretty sure all 3 of us, the other 2 won't admit it, but I'm pretty sure all 3 of us had done that. And then, of course, my father would do it. And my mother would go down to get a particular batch. And you'd hear her swearing. She kind of, and she knew it wasn't just me. So she would be like, "You guys got to stay out of the cookies. I tried to make a tray and there wasn't any of whatever it was." She'd name the brand, and what the hell are those? I don't know. I ate the brown ones with the chocolate on top. I did done that too sometimes because I didn't know all the names of the cookies. She would be like, "You ate my chocolate pinwheels," and I she'd say to all 3 of us, and I would be like, "I didn't touch those," or I would say, "Well, sorry," or whatever, and she's like, "I don't have a lot of those left to make some trays with," and I would be like, "Oh, I ate those are the chocolate pinwheels." I said, I didn't know that. The ones I had sprinkles on them. "You touched those too?" And she'd go down and open it. I'd rat myself out, and then I'd be in trouble for doing that too. It was always that poor woman. She worked so hard on those, and everybody loved them. People would literally pay her to make a tray of her cookies and put them together, and for their Christmas party or whatever gathering it might be. All right. First two passes. All done up here. So I'm going to finish these passes. I'm actually going to do my other cross grain against the grain in a cleanup pass, and finish up the shave, and we'll come back while we're doing the post shave and finish up this this special Mother's Day video. So happy Mother's Day to you ladies, and all you single dads. Happy Mother's Day to you too. So anyway, we'll be right back. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, thank you very much for joining us back. We are done with the shave. Did some few more passes. Ended up having a great shave. Everything's nice, smooth, no irritation. I always end up with a little bit of redness afterwards, but that's just my complexion. It doesn't hurt or anything, and it doesn't even really look. I'm red anyway, so I'm Irish, whatever. So, did a little bit of Tina Dickinson's Witch Hazel, threw that on there, cleaned up a little bit. Now we're going to go with the Aqua Velva 5-in-1 sensitive aftershave balm. This stuff is pretty good. I really like this stuff a lot. And I have seen that pretty much everywhere, except for the local grocery store. I've seen it at Walmart and all my local pharmacies. So, but anyway, yeah, it smells really good. I'm not a huge Aqua Velva fan. I think it kind of, I don't know, I just don't really like the scent to it, but I do like this. This is a little different to me. It's like a hat tipping to the aftershave that they have. So, just to recap, we did a Catie's Bubbles Connecticut shade. I did a shave with them. We used the Mule R41 open comb razor to mow the face with a feather blade on its second use. We used our brush. We used a synthetic. Synthetics are great, guys. They're not that much money overall, and they work awesome. These things, I mean, synthetics are huge. They're nice and soft, especially this one. I really like this brush. This AMAC Game Changer knot with a whip dog handle in use there. And we're going to finish up the shave with a sample that I still have plenty left in, Autumn Glory by Sterling. We're going to use that as the aftershave of the day. So I'll throw that on in just a second here. I did a video recently, guys, where I talked about cleanup and what I do for my post-shave routine. So that's, if you see that on there, check it out. It's got some good stuff on it. Just a couple of tips that I think work really well for me. But then again, I am always changing what I do, what I use, and trying different things. But so just cleaning that up here. So, guys, I really appreciate you guys joining me on this Mother's Day shave. I think if I drop this again, it's probably going to break. So we'll just go ahead and put this on before I do. Yeah, that's definitely good smelling. It's kind of cool outside and rainy and shitty, and so kind of reminds me of fall a little bit. So I think the Connecticut shade, with the whole indoors kind of baking thing going on, plus you get the autumn scent going on there. That's a scent that you usually find in the fall, obviously. So anyway, but guys, do you have any Mother's Day stories or mother's stories you want to share with me in the comments below? Love to hear them. As you guys, anybody who watches my videos knows I'm kind of a storyteller. So Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and mash down that subscription button or subscribe button. Love to have you on board so we can talk about more stuff, more shaving stuff, and you'll get a notification. If you set it right, you'll get a notification every time I put up a new video. So, again, thanks very much for joining me. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. And if you shave today, I hope you have a great shave. And, if you guys do any traveling, please travel safe. Have a good one. We'll see you guys next video.